Everybody, Uneducated Economist here. So, I didn't really want to make this video. When I was thinking about it before I, set it up to do the live stream. I was thinking, man, just let this one go. Don't cover this one. Because this is a pretty heavy one to really think about. I think about my own personal journey and where I've been and what I've done. I worked construction for a long time. I've been in the building supply industry, or I was putting it together, one of the two. And I can tell you, doing construction is incredibly rewarding. It is a lot of fun. It's exciting to watch the progress, to step back and see your results, and then the end product. It's something I think that you really have to experience for yourself to really, in order to understand it. But the feeling that you get when you see a family living in a home that you had built, or been part of constructing, it's an incredibly, I don't know, rich feeling. That's the only way to really describe it, is that, man, look what I did and look at this family enjoying this, right? That's incredibly rewarding feeling. And to know that you had done a good quality job and people respect it and see it, notice it, tell you, I cannot think of anything that I had done in my life that was more self-feeling rewarding than doing construction. I loved it. Absolutely loved carpentry. It also happened to coincide with one of the most depressing times in my life, where I was drinking a lot and feeling like I was in a lot of stress. And I think back now to that, and I think, why? Why was I feeling this way? Why was it this overwhelmingness during the time? I thought maybe it was just the condition of life that I happened to be in. But when you spend 8 hours a day at work, whatever it is you're doing there, that is your life. That is going to live, that's going to be with you. I don't care if you're at work or not. If you spend 8 hours a day doing something, that's who you are. And so I think about construction, what is it that people are going through when they're in construction? Because I loved it. I loved every bit of it, It was exciting and fun. But it was also pretty dangerous, especially if you're framing, doing new construction, you're putting the building together. There's a lot that's happening. There's a lot of fabrication on site. There's cutting and banging and nails and all kinds of stuff that's happening there. And the chances of getting hurt, pretty extreme. Right? I mean, it's a dangerous place to be, being on a job site. So you're pretty vigilant all the time of safety, You're constantly aware of your surroundings, of other people's doings, everything else. And so you already have this heightened level of being vigilant and just aware, which can be kind of stressful, especially if you're spending 8 hours a day doing that. And then on top of it, you're actually doing some pretty heavy mental work. A lot of people say, oh, I've done construction work. No, man, there's a lot that goes into building a house, especially trying to do the layouts and understanding blueprint reading and paying attention to the accuracy of what you're doing. This isn't just some simple task, right? I mean, it takes a lot of mental work in order to put a house together, right? And so not only are you sitting there vigilant of your surroundings, looking at the safety issues constantly, but then you're also constantly stressed out, looking at the work, trying to make sure that you're being accurate with what you are doing. On top of that, you're packing stuff around. It's heavy, right? It's always banging and lifting and putting into place, right? Physically demanding. So here you got this physically demanding job that takes a lot of mental work in order to accomplish it, along with a stressful environment of safety issues, and constantly from all day, 8 hours a day. And then on top of all this, you got a timeline. You got to get it done now, so hurry up. And now I think back to those times, and man, yeah, that's the way construction was, constantly, all the time. Right? In this 8 hours of constant stress and worry about safety and accuracy, and it's physically demanding on you the entire time, 8 hours a day. And so I think about like some of the people, or at least my condition and the people that I was hanging out with, we would work hard all day and then drink all night. So loading it up with a depressant on top of it. You know, I think about a lot of the people who are in the construction field, they were former military. Right? A lot of military people in construction. You know, Army is a lot about construction, right? Seabees, the Navy, all about construction. And so I think about like how much of that mental health deterioration that happened from being overseas and in a constant war environment on top of all that. And then coming back with PTSD and all that, you know, it's like construction is not an easy job. It's hell rewarding. It's vital. And I think a lot of times people just take it for granted. You know, you look around and there's construction everywhere. There's houses everywhere. How hard could it possibly be? They've been doing it for all of human existence. They've been putting structures together. How could it possibly be something that would be short supply of people who would do it? But that's what we're finding. If they can even do it, why would they? Think about the rate of suicide that has taken place within this construction industry, and it's alarming to think about. It's just like, these are the people who are putting the dwellings together, and they're doing that to themselves. You know, it's sad to think. It's sad to think about like how something as rewarding as building a house, watching somebody and their family moving into that house and enjoying that home, something as rewarding as that has so much depression involved with it. You know, I mean, I look at some of the people out there who complain about like, oh, the greedy home builders and they should be doing and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, do you realize that there's an individual dude, a laborer out there who's putting that house together? Do you know what that dude's going through in order to make that happen? You take this stressful environment and all of a sudden he's been thrown into some life circumstances, family deaths, divorce, slowdown in the industry. His debts are overwhelming him. Now you add this on top of it. Recently back from being overseas in the military. Yeah. I think people should focus in on mental health. Notice that these are the issues that are taking place. People are looking for a better environment to be in. Maybe we should be thinking better, right? Maybe we should understand what it is that other people are going through, especially ones who are in such a vital position of being carpenters and plumbers and electricians and everything that it takes to put this infrastructure together. A lot of times they just take it for granted. We don't need, like, how many times have you heard these little girls out there on the internet saying that they don't need no man in their life? Right? I know that isn't speaking for everybody. I get it. Right? I know that. But the sheer disrespect that comes from that, not understanding how difficult it is to exist like that, that your existence is so fragile. Yeah. People should take that into consideration. They should take this article and just remember, like, it's not something we dwell on, right? I've known a few people who've taken this route. And sometimes I get angry about that, you know? It's just like, you know, we're still here. We're still doing this. You know? There's no point in feeling that way, right? So this is a tough one, guys. This is not one that is easy to think about or discuss or even want to be participating in. Like, I know a lot of people probably saw this video and bailed out, you know, but not understanding what's truly going on out there is probably one of the reasons why we are suffering the consequences of some of the things we are doing today. This is a major issue. It's much bigger than anybody even realizes. And it's hard to even bring it up and discuss it because most of the time the people who are within this industry or this type of environment aren't supposed to be discussing how they feel, how down they are, how upset their feelings are of something that happened in their personal life. No, can't discuss that stuff. You suck it up and deal with it and pretend like it didn't happen. At least all around your buddies and everything, right? Don't let them know how you're feeling. It'd be bad. And you end up with this high rate, this alarming crisis situation. Super sad to think about. All right. That is. Salutes and respect to the uneducated in chat. Yeah, amen. The woke goes cope. I'm McLovin. Hey, working. I want to build safe roller coasters for lots of people to enjoy, but I haven't learned mechanical engineering yet, but I want to soon. Yui, good afternoon. I like farming. Yeah, I do too. I like farming as well. If Trump fires Jerome Powell, what difference would that... First of all... Okay, let's try this. If Trump fires Jerome Powell, what do you think? It is big what if? Haha. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. It'd be a big what if. I don't think nothing would take place. There's voting members of the FOMC. There's 11 other people who are going to be voting on monetary policy. Jerome Powell is one of them. His job is to vote on monetary policy along with the other people, right? The 5 alternates, 2 advisors. That's the FOMC. He has 1 vote on it, right? You remove him, you just remove one of the other 12 votes, right? There's 11 votes there. He's one of them. You remove that and you'll replace it with another spokesperson who speaks on behalf of the FOMC. Nothing else changes except for his 1 vote, maybe. Who knows what the next person will vote like. But the words that he uses is on behalf of the FOMC. He doesn't make decisions. He doesn't make a single decision other than the one that he votes on. That's it, right? Everybody else at the FOMC has a part in that. And so unless you change all the members of the FOMC, the 5 alternates and the two advisors, then there's nothing that's going to change that's going to be any different. My psychiatrist is a VA Camaro, and she prescribes smoky burnouts, baby. Work is what you make of it. I like fighting nature. Construction is only good for you're doing it for yourself. Greetings, Simon. A farm can keep you alive. Can't eat that money. A livable house, that is. It costs to earn money, and it costs to spend money. You're a double slave. Larry Hahn had a good series of videos on how to build a house. I'm so glad I invested early. Office workers have no clue. And that's the funny thing, is because I do work, I do an office job. Like, I answer the phone and drink coffee, but I do go down and I work in the yard as well. I drive forklift, I load lumber, I do all these things that everybody else does. And even today I was unloading a truck. It had been a while since I unloaded a bunch of pallets off of a truck, and it was actually felt good to be running that forklift around and doing the thing again, doing the yard kind of work. It was it hadn't been something I had done that much of, and it was just 1 truck. So, but it was still that being in it, as opposed to answering phones and talking to people. Most of the construction workers here floated in on a raft or came over on. To be honest with you, I see a lot of Hispanic crews and stuff like that, but where I'm living, there's plenty of construction workers who were born and raised here. The money train has no food, only crime. Drinking and waking up hungover to do physical work is hell, in my opinion. Larry, that was exactly the way I lived for 20 years. Every day I would get up and I would drink coffee until about noon, and then I would eat a huge lunch. It would just be a massive big old burger and fries or whatever, just eat a bunch of food. and then go until 5 o'clock, 5:30, whatever it was, and then drink beer until like as soon as you get off work, drink beer until 10:30 or so, about there. Maybe eat something that night, try and get some sort of dinner in, and then pass out, and then the next day do it again, just like that, every single day, just like that. All right, my dad and I built my house. Good for you. Let all the women and other college bums build their own houses. It's not like that, man. It's not a matter of like let them build their own houses. What it is that we have an industry of people who know how. There's carpenters. There's people who know how to build houses, and that's what they do for money. And that particular industry has a lot of people in it who are suffering from mental health issues, and you think about the condition in which that they're 8 hours a day are dealing with, right? You think about some of the impact that can have on society. This is not something that you just ignore or make fun of, right? You say let them build their own. It doesn't work like that. It's like saying, well, let them construction workers go and deal with their own medical issues. I mean, since they don't know how to do their own medical, why don't they just do their own medical issues, right? Since I'm a doctor and I don't know how to build a house, like I'm not a doctor, but assuming that I was a doctor and I don't know how to build a house, and somebody had a mental attitude towards me of saying, hey, you should build your own house since you don't know how to do it, right? And maybe, then you would have a little bit of respect for what it is to build a house. And I'm thinking on the other end, man, you know how hard it is to become a doctor and what it is to be a doctor, a good doctor, right? This is a relationship. This is a symbiotic relationship on this planet, right? Our economy is individual as ourselves. We operate within a bigger economy, right? Each individual person acting upon themselves, and we as a whole doing that. But we have to give our best. What it is that we are doing for society, we have to give our best at. What you're doing, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And if you back off on doing something because your skills are more valuable and they're not respecting it, then you're not doing your part, right? Your part is to provide as much as you can while you're here, to give, right? The more you give, the more you will receive from that. Give what it is that you want to receive. Give away what you want, right? And I know this is a weird mental attitude, especially from somebody who says, be a lion and take all. Because that's exactly the same thing. Live in abundance. Take it if it's yours. Take as much as you can. Don't sit around and saying, well, I guess I've had enough and I don't need any more. No, it's all yours. Take it. You divvy it out. Right? That's the way it goes down. It's survival of the fittest. But it's also understanding that there's universal powers out there that are symbiotic to the energy that you carry within you. And if you give it all away, you think about it, like, how much do I sell? What do I sell on my channel? Right? I sell a $1 a month membership. I have a little bit of merchandise. You can go buy a hoodie. Right? I tried doing some sponsorships. It made me feel terrible. I hate doing them. Right? That's not me. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm trying to give it all away. I've given everything that I know away. I just give it to you. Right? And what did I get for it? I got incredibly rewarded in a way that I just, like, I can't even explain. Like, I don't even know. Like, people say, what happened? I don't even know. Like, literally, I tried to explain it. I had to reverse engineer what happened to me and, like, understand that it was the feelings and energies and things that I was carrying within me, trying to change my life, getting out of that depressive alcoholic, character of mine, taking on a new person, becoming that new person. And I didn't understand what was taking place, and all of a sudden, YouTube's taking off and all these opportunities are happening. And I'm like, what in the world, All right. Strange video today, yeah? Sorry, guys. I just had to bring this one up, All right, let's cruise back up here a little ways. I build my own house on my farm. Good for you. Those are nice dream. My family is cow, goat, pig, sheep, fowl, ducks, hogs, and wild animals. For real, I love it. Not too safety regulations, at least. That's quite a family you got. Have you ever worked out how much you might have spent drinking over those 20 years? No, I don't. And this is the thing. Like, I don't I don't do that because I don't want to experience the pain of reliving that over and over again. I'll tell you what, right now there's a vision in my head, a mental picture of a mound of beer cans behind my garage that was so big and so obnoxious and so depressing and gross and just disgusting to think about. I got that. I don't need anything else. I got that mountain of beer cans that was back there. I looked at all the money, all the time, all the wasted, just everything that went into it. That is forever locked up in here. That lives rent free right there. That's what keeps me from going out there and buying that next beer, is thinking, what are you going to throw that can on top of that mountain? You're going to start a new mountain, right? You going to build one of those again? Now, you like building stuff. You want to build one of those mountain of beer cans, don't you? Yeah. Simon, we're happy you're here to understand those Fed's notes better than most economists. Thank you. Thank you, Will. I really appreciate that, man. And this is the thing, like, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out how it is that I can communicate some of the stuff that I'm learning, and it is incredibly difficult, right? To break this stuff down and to explain it in a way with all these little tiny parts and pieces, and then explain it in a way that just the average person can try and grasp a hold of what's happening out there is incredibly difficult. Just a couple of weeks ago, there was, oh geez, I can't remember who it was. It was some banking conference or whatever. Ben Bernanke was there. There was some Fed officials there or whatever, and they were giving these lectures, right? And it's on monetary policy. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening. It's a YouTube video. I'll go find it when I get done with this. I'll go find that video and I'll put it down in the description for you guys. But dude goes into monetary policy, and now I understand it. Like, I feel that I've really got a good grasp of monetary policy in a way that most people, like 99% of the people, just haven't figured out yet. And I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant or anything like that, but it really comes down to just filtering through so many damn speeches of the Federal Reserve where they communicated what it is that they are doing, but they broke it up into so many parts that if you didn't read all these things, it would be very difficult to see it and understand it. This guy's explaining it in this video, right, at this conference. And so I'm watching and I'm listening to this thing, and I'm like, holy crap, like, I get it. Like, I get what this guy is talking about, and I understand what he is saying, but it is so difficult to try and keep a hold of this, like, to try and listen and really, like, pay attention to what it is that he is saying and trying to communicate. If you were not already well understanding of monetary policy, none of it would have made sense, period. And, like, none of it would have made sense at all, right? And so when I think about some of the things that I am attempting to do as far as breaking down this monetary policy for the average person to understand, do you realize, like, this is information that is so incredibly valuable and rare to the people? Like, it is incredible. Like, nobody knows this stuff. Not even the big economists talk about this. Like, literally nobody. I have found nobody out there on the internet, not a single article, not anywhere, anybody talking anything like how I'm speaking. And therefore, it makes me the crazy one, right? Because I have the tinfoil hat talking crazy stuff that nobody's ever heard about, and how the Federal Reserve is not doing the 2% target. Might as well put my tinfoil hat on, right? Because I'm the only one speaking this way. And I'm thinking, how is it that I am like lunatic when it's literally stated right in the Fed's own documents, with their own speeches, their own statements? And I'm thinking, how is it that nobody else is picking up on this? Oh, right. The coordinated effort of propaganda. It works so well. It's because people want to be fed information, right? And I don't mean that to be like insulting sounding or anything else, right? I do too. Feed me the information, right? I don't want to go researching for it, reading through all these stupid documents to try and figure out what it is that the Fed's communicating. Learning about banking, capital reform stuff, Basel III endgame stuff. It's just dull. It's dull as hell. And most people, unless they are getting paid, probably wouldn't read it, right? So here we are, you know, we're figuring it out, and that makes us like incredibly rare. We're the most unique people here on this YouTube channel because of the stuff that we talk about. You know? Let me cruise down here to the bottom. All right, Simon, you understand the Fed better than what I saw with the internal emails in the New York branch. Well, thank you, Will. I appreciate it, man. And if I remember right, Will did work for the Fed for a time, or at least contracted with the Fed. Wasn't it like something uh, like I think subcontracted with them or something? All right. Once the Fed moves, so will equities. I think the equities will move. Equities are already moved. Think about it. Like the equity market already moved, and the Fed hadn't done anything. They did it last year. See, this is one of the things we learned. I don't have my computer with me, so I can't bring it up. But just recently, in a Michelle Bowman speech on monetary policy, talked about how financial conditions had eased last year. Late last year, financial conditions had eased. And I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. When did you, like, they didn't do it on purpose. They didn't do anything. They just eased on their own, magically, right? Because the Fed didn't do anything. They sat on their hands. Oh, wait a minute. They did put out that forward guidance of the dot plot, right? Which totally got people interested in buying houses and participating in equity purchases and all the other things that was going on out there. You saw this ramping up inside of the economy. People were wondering, it's like, man, inflation's running hot. The economy seems to be resilient. All this other stuff going behind it, not realizing that the forward guidance from the idea of those interest rate cuts coming into the future was enough to create a situation within the economy as if those interest rates had happened, right? I can't explain it. I say it in every single one of my videos, right? And understanding that's how monetary policy, that's how financial conditions had eased last year, even though the Federal Reserve didn't do anything at all. Like, didn't do anything. They literally sat on their hands, and they were like, hey, let's just speak into this mic here and don't do nothing, right? Nobody move. All right. Let's just speak. Let's just talk, okay? And that's what they did up until this recent balance sheet adjustments. All right, where are we at here? The dude over there, O2. Thank you so much for the $5 Canadian. Hey, UE, as much as I enjoy your deep economic truth videos, I also enjoy your deep truth about matters such as this. Much respect and thank you. Well, thank you, the dude over there, to O2. I really appreciate the support with the super chat there. And I don't know, like, how many people are going to bring it up, right? It's a sensitive topic. Nobody wants to show like their, you know, their heart or their emotions or whatever. And it's just like, I'm watching my friends die. Like, you know, I mean, just recently a buddy of mine who works construction had done it, right? You know, my friend, you remember Jenny, right? Jenny drank herself to death. Right, so not only it's two things that got me, right? Not only it's just like, you know, my friend committed suicide, but she did it through alcohol. Right? CB, another construction, right? This shit is hard. You know, it's a lot harder than I even realized or even thought about until today. And then I think about like how disrespectful a lot of people are out there when it comes to this particular industry. Oh, them greedy bastards, look at them, they're making all this money or doing whatever. And it's just like, if they wanted to, they could be building tiny houses or something. I hear all this stuff all the time, and I'm thinking, who, they, what? This dude over there is just going to throw his skills at you for free. Not how dangerous, how mentally, you know, draining it is, how physically demanding it is, you know, how time scheduled it is. And nobody wants to, like, you know, not nobody, I shouldn't say that, but people have have this weird idea that it's just something that can just magically happen, you know, not realizing how mentally draining and how physically demanding and how depressive it can actually be, you know, for a job as rewarding as it is. It's amazing. It has like the exact opposite effect on your mental health as much as you're rewarded by the idea of doing it. Nutty to think about. Thank you so much to Code for Bath Salts. Thank you for joining the channel. I like the name. I really appreciate you joining the channel. You'll have access to a bunch of member-only videos. The member-only videos, I break down Federal Reserve speeches and documents. We go over them word for word. We really try to internalize what it is that's being done or being said through these Fed speeches, so that we can best understand what's going on within the economy and make good decisions for ourselves. And I really just don't feel there's any other way of doing it. So thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for supporting the Uneducated Economist and everything we do here. And we'll try and do, I'll generally give out an announcement and let people know that we're doing a members only live stream. But even if you miss the members only, you can always go back and watch them, later on. Good for you. You now realize how expensive in more ways than one it is to be an alcoholic. All right. Let's laugh out loud. People think trade workers are sitting around printing money. Hell no. I have had a family in trades, and their knees and backs are all busted in their 40s and 50s. You're selling your body for money. That's right. Dude, that's the reason why I got out of construction. I made some money at it. I could do it. But the last roofing job I did, I could hardly stand up for 2 weeks. You can sit there doing flat work. Flat work is when you do like driveways, concrete work, right? Flat work, you're constantly screeding, you're messing with trowels, doing all kinds of stuff. You do that for a summer, you can take your hands, you do this real tight with them, and every one of your cuticles will bleed. You can sit there and just run blood right down your hands, just like that, just by squeezing them really tight, because every one of them is cracked and gnarled. All right? This is what they go through every day, sitting there screeding this stuff out, right? Got to make the money, got to get the mud out, get it down, get it flat, get on to the next one. This is like, they literally kill themselves. I see the old men who come in, the guys who are getting ready to retire, they limp. They're all sore, every last one of them, right? Hands look like that. Alcohol's a trickster. Yeah, it is. Right, dude? My dad's friends were all construction workers and died before 60. Trade is a young man's game. It's not bad gig to raise money for another avenue or pursuit, but doing it in your later life is rough. Absolutely, Thomas. And this is the thing that I found out about it is like, you can do do pretty well doing construction, right? You can have a pretty good construction business and be fairly successful at it and make a pretty good living, right? There's some people out there who could probably make it rich, but most people are probably just going to make a pretty good living, right? Not everybody's going to turn into the Ken McElroys out there. But to think about that just alone, right? It's not anything that, you can do pretty good at it. If you build up a good business and you have a good business model and you're a good contractor, then you can hire subs, you can hire other people, and you can do the business without having to do the physical end of it. You have to work into that position, right? A lot of people can just, move right into that and just be that contractor and just hiring out subs and just go for it. Most people have to play the game first. And a lot of times when we're playing the game, we can't necessarily have, or not, I don't know if it's like can't, we just don't necessarily have that drive in us to expand it into some giant operation. It's already a pretty stressful thing. Some of us, when we're doing construction, even if we had our own business, it's just another day job, and that's all it'll ever really be. I know a 21-year-old plumber, and he makes $40 to $50 an hour, which is great. Yeah, it is. It's a great. Hey, you can make some serious money at it. There's no doubt about it. You can make money, right? And it's not a bad gig, Especially, you find some good jobs where you're doing like prevailing wages or something, and you get like something that's really killer. Maybe you even get to travel someplace and stay at some hotel, and you're in like, some cool area or something. We're doing construction is fun. Don't get me wrong, the job is rewarding, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it pays well. It's all this stuff that is really awesome about it. But there's also a huge chunk of it that is not awesome, and it's obvious when you just look at that article, right?
And I know two plumbers that don't even work 5 days a week in their 30s, and they make like about 100,000 and live in a nice house. I feel bad for people that fell for the liberal arts meme. Yeah.
And again, like, there's a lot of money to be made. There's like, I mean, you can isolate and pick out and say, man, I don't know, there's this dude who's like, just absolutely rich as hell, working 4.5 minutes a day and, whatever. I mean, okay, yeah, sure, you can find those people out there. I mean, hell, even I myself was just like, hey, I can make all this kind of money in a half an hour video or whatever. But that's beside the point of it, right? The generally speaking of the people out there, there's a certain condition of existence that is out there that doesn't necessarily mean that they only get to work 4 days a week and get to make that kind of money and be in an area in which that has a high standard of living. That's, I mean, that might be for a lot of people, but that's generally speaking probably not the case, right?
Alright, been an electrical contractor for 7 years now. I hit a wall, and conquering the next level has been the hardest thing for me. I'm at a point that I have to learn estimating and bidding, and that's hard AF. Yeah, it is.
Like, a lot of times I knew a guy. It's funny. You could set out like, I mean, I know a lot of builders. I mean, I've been in this supply industry pretty much my whole life. So for 20 years in a small community, yeah, you pretty much know them all. So you could line up all these builders in front of me, like, or builders, right, contractors, whatever. They got their name, they got their logo, and and I could sit there and look at every single one of them, and there's no way by an appearance that you're going to be able to tell who it is that's going to give you the quality work. Right? You can't tell. Like, you can look at a fancy truck with logos and you think, man, that guy's got it going on. Obviously, he's the one, or else you wouldn't have all this equipment and logos and the jacket and all the other stuff, right? I mean, he obviously must be having it going on. You don't know anything about him. You're just going off of the observation of it. But me, I look at that and I say, yeah, that dude is rolling in debt. That dude is rolling in debt. Yeah, he has a big truck. He's got the trailer. He's got all the equipment. He's got a bunch of people working for him. I don't know any of those workers. I don't know what kind of job they do, right? Because they seem brand new, and I don't know. They seem like they were like they seem like they're drunk right now, or something like that. And you look over at this old Toyota pickup truck with this old guy sitting in there, and he doesn't look shaven, and he kind of looks all run down a little bit. But I know that guy, and he's been framing houses here for 50 years, and I know that dude's going to put together a damn fine quality, well-constructed home without mistakes, without shortcuts, without, any BS, right? But looking at him, you probably wouldn't guess to pick him, right? And that's huge, right? That guy didn't do well in his business. He didn't know how to manage his money. He ended up drinking most of his money away. Didn't take away from the fact that he was an amazing carpenter, right? But he couldn't quite figure out the money part of things. Never did get out of that old Toyota.
Alright. I work for a dude that always undercuts himself for estimates. I didn't get paid today because of it. Then he'll cry that I took half a day off to go to the scrapyard. Yeah, I've worked for guys like that. Building tiny houses is impossible because of NIMBY. Something about maybe no money in it. What does NIMBY mean? I can't remember. All right. I have second thoughts about going into construction. I wouldn't necessarily take in the second, like, construction is probably, like I said, I don't know if there was any time in my life that I felt more rewarded by the job that I was doing. Like, I like working, supply and stuff. People come in and it's like, oh man, look at the deck we built. It's so beautiful. Thank you for, helping us get the material or whatever. And it's like, oh, you look at a picture. It's like, that's nice. And it's somewhat rewarding. I like that. But it's nothing like actually building the deck, right? That's hella rewarding. And just being aware of it. Like, I'm not trying to scare somebody out of the industry. I just want somebody to be aware. I just want people to be aware of this situation that is happening. It's a hell of a great place. All right. Not in my backyard. Oh, that's it. Okay. It's people who purposefully try to obstruct affordable housing developments to retain or raise their property values. It's quite greedy. Well, Thomas, I guess. I mean,
To be honest with you, if people were like, hey, we're going to try and stop something from happening in our neighborhood that would lower the value of your house. If somebody like, and I'm thinking, what is it? And I don't want to do that for me. Well, then I might be on board with that. Like, it'd be like, hey, yeah, I don't want all those people in my area either. Right? And so is that greedy or is it selfish? I mean, whatever. You know, it was just like, maybe it's selfish. You know, that's what I get for putting all this time and effort and energy into trying to acquire a down payment. You know, I mean, it was just like, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's just like, do I give up my own mental health of wanting a nice neighborhood that's quiet without a bunch of people in it so that, you know, I'm not considered selfish or greedy? You know, it's just like, no. I mean, this is what I want in my life. Why can't I go for that? Like, I don't want a bunch of people around me. It's one of the reasons why I kind of live in Oregon, is because there's not a lot of people up here. And the only thing I can really complain about the rain is that there's not more of the rain to drive more of the people away. Right? So it's like, and I don't mean to be insulting about that, but the rain doesn't bother me, and it seems to bother a lot of people out there. And hey, that's great. You know, that is like, that's wonderful. Like, to me, that's cool, because I live in an area that rains all the time.
all right. It's been a while, bro, but just wanted to say hi and thanks for the content. Yeah, Danny, but man, thanks for being here. Property never goes up, the dollar loses value. Who wants to live with scumbags? All right. It's not what you want, it's about what you have. And I agree with that, because see, that's the thing. Like, I don't really want a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not greedy. I don't have material possessions that I want. Like, I don't want all this crap. I want an environment that I'm enjoying, right? I want steak, I want music, I want a view. That's it. Like, those are my wants. My wants are very, very small and simple, right? I don't need fancy cars. I don't need luxurious trips or anything like that. I don't need any of that stuff. Like, I don't even care. Like, it doesn't even, like, I think about it. It's like somebody says, man, think of the most exciting luxurious trip you can have. And I'd be like, I want to go down to Gold Beach and go gold panning. Like, that's like, you know, that's what I think about. Like, that sounds fun. Like, I don't even know how to have fun. That sounds fun. You know, like, I can't think of stuff that I would even want or anything like that. All right, subcontractors get screwed big time. Taxes, no insurance, no retirement. I just killed myself fixing a massive out of plumb 95-year-old floor. I can't hardly stand up after a week, but damn, it now has a strong level subfloor. Rewarding. Yeah. See, and that's just the thing. Like, at the, you know, I mean, I don't, how much time? Gosh, I would just love to continue on. I gotta go. All right, I got 2 minutes. But that was the other thing. Like, at the end of the day, feeling, for lack of a better term, beat up, actually felt good. Like, being sore and tired and wore out, like, that's actually a really good feeling. You know that? Like, it's somewhat rewarding to be in that kind of condition, to be that way. And it's like, it's hard to explain, right? But it is. It's really enjoyable. All right, here you go, guys. I tell you what, I'll give you guys a shot of this container ship, because I have like 5 minutes to get back to work, but I have enough time to go take you on a little quick field trip, and we'll go look at this SM line container ship running up the river real quick. Nice calm day on the river. I guess I probably could have came down here and done oh look, there's some cormorants right over there. But yeah, SM line. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little boat that's kind of running alongside of it. That's the river pilot. So what they do is they drop off the river pilot, and then a bar pilot gets on. And the bar pilot takes them out there to the ocean. Then a helicopter goes out there and picks them up. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? What an awesome place to live. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.